Welcome to the weekly roundup presented by the Sports Scene podcast. I'm your presenter today, Liam Rafi, alongside me is Marlind Mary, as always. How are you?
Not bad, mate. Yourself?
Not too bad.
Good stuff, good stuff.
So we get started on the Premier League last week.
Yep.
We had some brilliant games, starting off with my team, Liverpool.
Yeah. Very boring game, let's be honest. Very boring game.
Against Arsenal. What a free kick to start with.
Yeah, it was a great goal, to be fair. People blaming Raya. I've looked at it many times since. It's not Raya's fault. I think it's just a very good free kick.
Did you see Ty in the way end?
Yes, I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. Not ideal.
Oh, it was a brilliant game.
I think
it was a brilliant game. It was terrible.
It was an awful game. To be fair, I think everything that we sort of said about it was quite wrong.
Yeah, it was an anticlimax.
Very
Which I
anticlimactic.
also felt like it probably would have been actually.
I
said, to be fair, I didn't say it was that game, but the Liverpool-Newcastle game the week before, I said that's going to be an absolute anticlimax. But actually wasn't. It was a good game, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I just think I think Szoboszlai had a very good game.
He did, yeah. Not that Martinelli was much of a threat, really.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't put Eze. It's not like, I know Eze is just new to the team, but it's not like he's out of, like...
Yeah, he's
form.
fit.
He is fit, but...
I get his idea, I suppose. Martinelli normally does quite well against Liverpool.
Trent. It was always against Trent.
Yeah. But I know, to be fair to Szoboszlai, I think he played really well, but still, Martinelli's confidence at the minute is just completely on the floor, and I think he needs a bit of time out from the team. And I think Eze will play in our next game. I think
he kind of reminds me a bit like Smith Rowe, where he was in good form, and then when he fell off, he never really got back to the
heights. I think it's injuries, and you just never really get consistent. The thing is with Martinelli at the minute is there's certain moments in the games when we had a bit of a counter attack in the first half, and Gyökeres is pretty much one-on-one with Konate, and he could maybe slip past him, and Martinelli just keeps his head down, doesn't try and look for the pass, or even a pass in the space for maybe Gyökeres to try and get in behind.
You know what the game actually kind of felt like? I don't know if you remember. I think it was 2018. When Mahrez skied the penalty.
Yes,
I agree, because it just came too early in the season where both teams just didn't really have to go for it.
No, I think I kind of had a feeling though that Hughes would be a bit better defensively. I thought first half we were the better team. Edged it. I don't think we were. I think we only really had one or two chances.
That Rice free kick was poor.
I know. Yeah,
so
I think Rice.
I would say he's probably had more. He's looked the better out of the two, but I think both teams didn't look great.
I think both teams really genuinely tried to. I think the narrative that's being run on Sky Sports is that we were the ones who were very defensive. I don't think we really were. I think second half we were just a bit more.
It was a defensive lineup of it though.
Yeah, that's fair. But I knew that he would do that. And to be fair, does Arteta trust Maneri to play in the number 10 at Anfield away? I mean, I get why.
Who was the 15-year-old or 16-year-old?
Max Dowman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was when he brought him on. I think at that stage we're chasing the game, we're trying to find any sort of little spark. It was listen, Liverpool won, but it's not. I don't think it's a title definer. I think even if we'd won, I wouldn't have said. I think it would have been a great result.
It's still early in the season to call, isn't it?
For me,
there's a lot of football to be played out, and
we have 35 games left. So realistically, the game isn't. The league is not won because you beat us 1-0. End of the season, maybe we could look at it and go, Liverpool have won the league by a point. They beat us. I still think there's a lot of games to go, and I still think. I think it's a very, very, very lazy narrative to say that we played just for a draw, because I think Liverpool would have been happy with a draw as well, to be honest. So,
I think we had quite a few chances in the second half to go.
I just don't really think that I think we neutralised. I think Mosquera did very well on Ekitike.
Saliba coming off quite early.
Was a bit of. We moved the ball a bit. Saliba tends to move the ball a bit faster for us, and obviously it was, it's a big miss. Saka and Ødegaard not being fully fit is, but I don't think Madueke played bad, but still, Saka just gives that extra.
But Curtis had a decent game.
Curtis played right, yeah, but I thought Madueke was good as well. I thought both players actually played well. Like it can tend to happen where a winger and the opposing fullback actually they both play well in different moments.
Another thing what probably helped you. Not within the game, but as a result was Man City also dropping points.
I think Man City dropping points.
2 games in a row now where
I was talking about this with my brother after the first game of the season, and my brother said that Man City don't move me. They don't make me sort of feel like they're going to go and charge for the league again. Yeah. And that was after the 4-0 win against Wolves.
Do you think this is Pep's last season if he doesn't do well this season?
I think it is Pep's last season.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think
you know who I could see going to Man City? That Areola at Bournemouth.
Areola's a good shout. Yeah, I don't think he's a bad shout, especially when you look at sort of we're settled without. I don't think we would really sack. Even if we don't win the league this year, we wouldn't sack Arteta.
I think this could be a make or break season for Arteta though. He's got to win something this season. That's
the feeling, and I get why people feel that way. But the way how many years I've watched Arsenal now, Wenger didn't, okay, he obviously had the legacy and stuff, but there was many times where we were very close to the league.
But he
we weren't winning.
The thing is with Arsenal with Wenger is that it was the fact
he ran the club as well. But
but it was the fact that he already had. You banked them years where you were.
That's
successful.
True, but I still think if you look back on I think Wenger will probably say it himself in 2008, 2011, and 2016. Those 3 years that I will note highly where I think we should have won the league, especially the 2016. I know Leicester won it and it was great to watch.
Yeah, but they finished. Well, to be fair, Spurs were the ones that bottled that one most.
Yeah, but I think after we'd beaten Leicester in February of 2016, we'd went 2 points behind and we'd sort of thought, right, now we're going to go and push them in the league, and we didn't. Wenger didn't get sacked after that. When Wenger got sacked? The two things that sacked Wenger was we began to finish outside the top 4.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say, you never finished outside of the top 4 in, what was it, like 20 years or something?
Yeah, 20 years, and then obviously we finished 5th and then 6th. So
yeah.
that's one of the main reasons he got sacked. And that football is more of a business these days, and I just don't think that, I just can't imagine Arteta getting sacked. I think there's more likely Arteta walks than gets sacked, just for the sheer fact that the board, if we don't finish in the top 4, I think we'll see it as more of a failure than if we don't win the league.
Okay.
And I just, there is a lot of pressure on him this season, and I think with the signings that we've made, I think he does have to deliver this season, at least a trophy. Whether it's FA Cup, Carabao Cup, we need to win something.
I don't think not winning the league will get him sacked, but I think not winning the trophy could.
That's fair.
Even if it's like a League Cup or an FA Cup, at least that banks him.
It's more of because he has won obviously an FA Cup, and people can say whatever they want.
5 years ago.
That's true. In his first few months, and he did really well to win it. But since we have been very close, we've been in a few semi-finals. Obviously, we finished second 3 times in a row.
Two semi-finals last year, weren't you?
Yep.
The League Cup and then
the Champions League. We were in the semi-final of the League Cup in 2022, in the semi-final of the Europa League in 2021. The problem we have at the minute, it seems,
is 2021. Was that
making that final step?
Oh yeah, it was.
Villarreal.
Yeah. Because didn't I know you got the final? I was thinking.
Yeah, Emery was 2019. We got in the final. Yeah, we got humped, should we say?
By Eden Hazard.
Basically, we lost 4-1 to Chelsea that didn't even like the manager. So that was. Listen, I'm a big fan of Mikel Arteta. I've been a big fan ever since he came, and I can genuinely say I've backed him from the beginning till now. And I am as big a fan as I am. I feel like this season is the one where he does need to deliver something at least. If he doesn't win a trophy, I wouldn't call for him to be sacked, but I think there will be more questions, and rightfully so, because we are now at that level of Liverpool and City. We're probably better than City now, I'd say.
Yeah.
I think also, defensively, especially.
Your record against I know it is all right at the Emirates, but your record against Liverpool, Man City away isn't great.
It's very poor. We haven't won at Anfield since 2012, and we haven't won at the Etihad since 2015. So, people, again, it's sort of when I say it's very lazy the season that Man City, Pep's record at Anfield, he's won once at Anfield.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it.
So, and
Pep when people make them graphics saying, they haven't won here. We haven't beat Man City in the league. Last season we did, but
it was the only time where he's actually been
in the league since. Yeah, I don't think Klopp only won once there.
Yeah,
that was the 4-1.
Yeah, and that was Pellegrini. That
was in Pep. So he didn't even beat Pep in the league. But he did beat them in the Champions League. But but I think it's a very lazy thing to say.
Very lazy thing to say that we need to go and win at Anfield. If this was in March or April, and maybe we were 2 points behind you, and we were playing more for a draw, that's fair enough. But we're in August, or we were in August. And realistically, the season where in 23-24, when we didn't win the league, we lost that by 2 points when we got 89 points. We got 4 points against Liverpool and 4 points against Man City, and we didn't win the league.
Yeah.
So, Man City and Liverpool didn't beat us. Man City didn't beat us twice. They had 2 opportunities, they didn't do it, and we didn't win, and they still won the league. So, again, in 21-22, Liverpool, they didn't, they drew twice to Man City. The reason why Man City won the league that season is not because Liverpool didn't go and beat them in either game.
Yeah.
Because both games are really close. It's because there's other games during the season. If we lose the league this season by a point and Liverpool win the league by a point, you'll probably, in my opinion, I'll look back on that game, but you look back on other games as well. There'll be games during the season where you slip up, in my opinion.
No, you're not. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of football.
Still so early, and
plus there's a lot of difficult runnings
exactly
for all 3 teams.
You have a very difficult October. We have a difficult November. I think our first 6 games are quite difficult, to be honest. We still have the next 3 games are very tough.
What about within the league at the moment? Obviously, we're looking at other top teams as well. Nottingham Forest getting beat by West Ham was a bit of a shock.
Bit of a shock. I think the way it happened was a bit of a shock. I think Graham Potter's given himself a few weeks.
Yeah, I definitely have that. I seen a thing this morning saying that they were looking at Lampard, obviously with Coventry.
The Coventry, he's doing really well at Coventry.
But I just don't think Lampard.
I think it's a bit of a step.
Lampard's a bit like Scott Parker, in the sense
maybe
he could be a very good Championship manager, but not good enough for the Prem.
The one thing about Lampard as well that people seem to forget, and as well as he's done with Coventry, he hasn't. Okay, he had half of the season last season. This is the season where he kind of needs to at least be in the playoffs because obviously they lost to Sunderland the way they did. They were probably the better team in that game.
He got out tactical in that game as well.
I'd say so, yeah. I think especially in the home leg. The second leg, I think they were the better team, to be honest. Obviously, we went and watched it. But I think Coventry this season, that if you're Frank Lampard, I would personally want, or if any Premier League club want to get Frank Lampard, I would want to see how he does with Coventry with a full season in the tank. And if he got them automatic promotion, then I think you could look at him and say, okay, he's reinvented himself.
But I just look back at West Ham were in a similar position where he was at Everton. Obviously, he did keep Everton up.
That's true.
Just
about.
But the season after, Everton was so poor before the ball.
Very poor, and he might have taken them down, to be honest. So obviously they sacked him and got Dyche in, and Dyche kept them up. It's interesting with West Ham because there's the amount of money they spend. They should be a team that are probably in and around Europe, but last season was a very poor season, and they spent a lot of money. And should they really sack David Moyes? David Moyes got them a trophy, and they were sort of consistently in the top 10. He had a couple of seasons finishing in Europa League spot, in a Conference League spot. Obviously, won the Conference League, as I just said. And I think with David Moyes, they were fine. They were doing okay. But
the thing is, David Moyes leaving West Ham
wasn't a bad thing.
It wasn't a bad if they got the right replacement, but they just didn't.
They didn't. Yeah, Lopetegui was never.
Yeah.
They sacked him for style of play, but Lopetegui's style of play was none the better, really.
Yeah. When Moyes left, they conceded so many goals that season.
That's true.
It was unbelievable.
That's true.
But they still had, he still got Kudus that season was pretty decent. Obviously, Bowen was always on fire, and Annie Shag and Danny Dyer. But I just look at that team, and it was something to build on.
No, it wasn't.
And when they brought Lopetegui in, they were making signings like obviously Fulco, but I was looking at that and thinking that just screams when Pellegrini was at West Ham. Yeah. And obviously, I was right in the sense that they were just terrible.
No, you're
obviously got sacked. But that Newcastle game kept him in that side for a bit.
When they beat them.
What was that, 2 seasons ago now? I got a feeling if West Ham don't kick on now, that could be quite similar with Graham Potter.
The thing is with Graham Potter is that it's proven in the past that it takes
time.
It takes time with him. I mean, Brighton is a prime example where in his first 2 seasons, they weren't necessarily
spectacular.
No, they weren't at all. I mean, they were just a better than relegation, but sort of nowhere near really pushing the top 10. It was sort of that season, the last full season he had, where it really became, like Brighton looked like a proper team. And to be fair, because of him, he left a very good sort of foundation for Roberto De Zerbi and Fabian Hurtzler to sort of carry that on. But the problem is with West Ham is that because sort of they've sold some of their top players, they're in a position where they sort of they want to be up there, but this could be a transitional season for them, and if they're not careful, they could be in trouble.
Yeah.
But I think it was a really good win for them. It was a crucial win because I think Potter needed that win in particular. Nottingham Forest, though, is there a situation brewing there? Obviously, we've seen over the last couple of weeks there's issues with Nuno Espirito Santo and Evangelios.
Look, we all know Marlind is a very likeable bloke. I don't want to get
very crazy guy.
He's a very likeable bloke. I don't want to get really in with the mafia.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's a likeable bloke. You're nothing wrong. I don't want to get banned from Nottingham Forest either. So, likeable guy.
There's a problem there, and I think if you're Marinakis,
he's an absolute nutcase. He's like, I seen someone say he's a Sugar Knight of football.
He is.
He is.
He is Sugar Knight of football. Really is. I mean,
if I was Nuno, I would have walked last season when he started shouting on the pitch. The way that was, it was just stupid.
Yeah, but I don't. Well, the thing is, no one really knows the ins and outs of that situation. Apparently, that wasn't him even. That was Marinakis complaining to Nuno about the referee. There's loads of different stories, and I mean, the story that we hear about the reason why there's a bit of a breakdown with Nuno Espirito Santo and Edu Gaspar is because,
I've seen that
which
as well.
is so yeah. Cheers, Edu, for leaving. By the way, good one, lad. Good one. Thanks for Raheem Sterling last season as well. Good one, mate. Regardless, anyway, Nuno's being the manager. As a manager, you should, especially when you do the type of job that Nuno did. By the way, when Nottingham Forest were finishing 16th and 17th, Nuno shot them all the way up to 7th last season. Yeah, it was
obviously they fell off a bit.
They were third for a long time of that season, but they still had a fantastic season. They got in an FA Cup semi-final. Why on earth, they've brought in Douglas Luiz. Apparently Nuno didn't want him. So why Marinakis has allowed sort of Edu Gaspar to go ahead of, to go over Nuno's head, I think for me is a bit, it's just wrong. I think especially when Nuno's done the type of job he's done.
Do you think Edu has a bit of a ego problem?
Well, there clearly is a problem there because
obviously the way he left Arsenal was a bit of a surprise.
There was apparently a sort of a breakdown in communication between him and Arteta as well. So there's clearly sort of there's an issue there.
Yeah.
Because Edu couldn't, in the end, he wasn't able to get in the sort of players that we wanted. Andrea Berta's come in for us, and we've gotten sort of all of our targets really bar Eze before the season started. So, obviously Hincapie has come in as well, but that was a bit more circumstantial because Kivio's left, so we had to sort of find a replacement. But there's a problem there, Forest, and I don't know how long Nuno has because are they going to expect him to do the same sort of wonders that he did last season? They have spent a bit, to be fair. In the end,
I think they probably will. To be honest,
do you think he'll leave?
I don't know because I think if he hasn't left by now, which he hasn't, then I think he will be there unless they do terrible.
Yeah, if there's a bad run there, I think then straight away there will be pressure. And that'll be sort of one to keep an eye out on. Moving on as well to Man United, another person who you could argue was under a bit of pressure. They got a bit lucky against Burnley, would you say?
Oh, 100%. And why on earth was Bruno Fernandes and was it
Diogo Dalot?
Yeah,
called in Lyle Foster.
Yeah, it was just cringe. It's like it's a Burnley. Like I get the thing about but it's still Burnley at Old Trafford.
That's true.
Like and it's, I don't know. It's just I'm not looking down on Burnley, but I think as Man United, this one of the biggest clubs in the world, like on this bad run of form, you just get your head down and play football. Why are you trying to just do that? It just looked a bit stupid, to be honest.
Is it fair? Would you say that it's potential turning point for Man United, or do you think it's papering over the cracks?
Papering over the cracks.
Do you think?
I don't think. Look, we actually should probably do a Premier League prediction, but I have Burnley to finish 20th.
Yeah.
And Man United's just a team at the moment where I don't know what they are like doing.
You don't know what you get, really.
Yeah.
They played so well against us, and their fans were sort of hyped, and then they produce the sort of performances they did in the next 3 games against Fulham, Grimsby, and Burnley as well.
It still wasn't a good performance. No,
it wasn't. No, I mean, Burnley were pegging them back, and you could argue even had their own chances to sort of win.
Look, he's got the national break for Man United's come.
It's come at the best time. Really. Come at the best time.
Yeah.
Is it fair to assume that if they didn't win or they maybe even lost, do you think that Ruben Amorim would have been sacked
against Burnley?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think Ineos would sack him yet.
Nah, I don't think that's.
I think they'll give him quite a while, to be honest, because I think when obviously the Glazers had full control, all the Glazers still have a share in it.
Yeah.
But when the Glazers had full control, they were the ones that would sack managers.
Yeah.
Ineos have come in and said, look, we're going to do it differently this time. And rightly or wrongly, they've had a bit of a few controversial moments, shall we say, during the tenure so far.
Yep.
But I don't think they're going to sack managers like the way the Glazers done. Because at the moment, you're going to get a situation again where if Amorim gets sacked or he walks, whatever, they're going to get another manager in and he's going to have, a team at the moment with a squad built between like 3 managers.
Yeah.
And then he's going to add his own players and that.
Yeah.
And then if he gets sacked, then it's just a cycle.
It's a cycle, yeah, you're right. And
so I don't think Ineos are going to do that. I think they're going to keep Amorim.
The thing is, his record is very poor.
Yeah, but
I still think
unless they get really deep, like tuck in that relegation battle this season, I don't think. Like if they are in that's when you get sacked. But if they're not and they're like just mid-table, I think they'll keep them.
Yeah, probably because I think it's sort of. Yeah, no, I agree. I still think they'll try and keep. I think they're going to try and give him as much time as possible.
Because the thing is, he's adamant on playing his formation, his style of play, which,
in the end,
they knew he played that style of football.
That's true.
When they got him, I think that was one of the main reasons why Liverpool actually didn't get him, was because they just didn't think the players would fit his style.
Which I think is aged pretty well, to be honest.
Yeah. Man United probably should have looked at that, but they were looking at that sporting record and were like, rather than actual playing style. I think, I believe anyway.
That's fair enough. That's fair to assume.
And the players. I mean, like we mentioned last week about Amad Diallo playing right wing back. He's not a right wing back.
No, of course not.
He probably needs time to build his own team and look like that old saying, like Rome wasn't built in a day.
Wasn't.
But Man United's, and even you go back to the successful managers they've had. Alex Ferguson had so many years when they weren't that good before eventually they hit the nail on the head and got playing football and start winning stuff.
That's true.
So I think Ineos will look at that and think, we need to give this guy time. And, he's a bit of a character as well in what he says in his interviews, where he's like, oh, I want to walk and stuff like that.
That was very worrying, though.
Yeah.
I think his press conference...
But then you look at that in the play and think, does my manager believe in us? What do I have to do to make him believe that, this team is right?
No, you're right.
And I don't think Ineos are going to sack him. I don't think Man United will sack him unless he does something absolutely crazy. If they get sucked in a relegation battle and they think, well, we're not going to get out of this, then that's when they'll get rid of him.
Yeah. I just think...
But then I look at the manager's market at the moment, and there's not a manager that's out there, and I think that would be a good fit for Man United.
I think Sean Dyche would be a great fit for Me.
Allardyce.
Allardyce as well. No, I just... to sort of caveat your point, I do agree with you. I think because of the previous turnover of managers, I think Ineos are maybe feeling... They're maybe in a position where they feel like they have to give him time. I think he would have been sacked.
Yeah.
If it was if the turnover wasn't as consistent, if they hadn't sacked all, continuously, I think he'd have probably been sacked after sort of last season. But he is maybe going to be given a bit more time. The one thing I do look at, I think they've got a very, very dodgy run in October and November. And I think if they're not picking up points between that sort of period of the season, I do think he might be under a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Also, Amorim as well. He's took over Ten Hag. Ten Hag this week had just got sacked by Leverkusen.
I mean, how low is his stock at the minute? I don't know if you've read some of the.
Yeah.
He's basically pissed people off from the beginning.
Apparently he brought his own people in that he didn't get along with.
Yeah.
He didn't get along with anyone at Leverkusen.
Yeah.
The players were confused by his tactics and confused by the way they were doing what they were doing in training.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I look at Ten Hag and think, obviously they were put in the league, Man United. I can't say too much about Leverkusen. I haven't really watched Leverkusen this season. But
they were 3-1 up in his last game in charge. They were 3-1 up with I think 10 minutes to go. And
I seen the sort of reaction after that game on Twitter or whatever, and the fans were like, "When do you get rid of Ten Hag? When do you get rid of Ten Hag?"
Which was very,
but they come out and said that Ten Hag was in all of Leverkusen's history, Ten Hag is the worst manager they've ever had.
Which is
a bold statement. It is a very bold statement.
But at the same time, you could argue it's criticism towards the board as well because they hired him.
Yeah, and they were the ones that, look, I know that he didn't want to keep Jacques and all that, but with Wirtz and Frimpong, it wasn't really his choice, sorry. But, you know, he didn't want to keep Jacques, but I think the board wanted to keep him. And I think that was kind of the first
there was a problem
incidents I had.
Jacques was clearly a big influence. Leverkusen have sold 7 out of
the
11 players that they won the league with.
Look, whatever's going on behind the scenes, fair enough. But how do they expect Ten Hag to just walk in that team where they've lost a lot of players in the first 11?
Massive turnover of players. They lost the manager as well.
Yeah, and not given time, just think they're going to get results straight away. And rightly or wrongly, like if it was to do with his behaviour, then fair enough. But if it was just it was just because of performances and results, then I just don't think that was very fair.
I don't think you can sack someone based off two games results wise. I just don't think there's clearly been issues there. And I mean, you know, as apparently there was even a rumor there, or they even, from what I've read, that they actually considered sacking him before the season even started.
That's crazy.
So there's clearly been a massive sort of problem there from the get go, essentially. Which, if there's problems like that in the club, then I just don't see it ever ending well for the manager, and I think maybe Leverkusen have tried to sort of save face. It'll be interesting to see who they get now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So obviously, moving on to the next segment, the transfer window has ended, and it was an eventful final day, shall we say. Liverpool eventually got their main man, Alexander Isak, for a Premier League, a British transfer record actually, of 125 million, rising to 130 million. In the end, they also were trying to get Mark Weahy for 35 million, but Crystal Palace had to pull out last minute because Ego didn't want to go there. So, you know, Liam, obviously, Liverpool got their main man in the end. How do you feel?
Relief for Isak and for Newcastle.
I think it's best thing for both.
Yeah.
All parties involved. I think eventually it had to end that sort of saga. And
look, if we didn't get in this window, then you have a brilliant player in Alexander Isak that was not going to get game time, was he? If the Newcastle didn't sold him, they were never going to play him again.
Probably not. No.
Because the backlash between him and the fan base and stuff like that, you know, he's cut his ties with Newcastle. However, I've seen a lot of Newcastle fans talk about his statement when he left. I get why they're annoyed at the fact he didn't really say too much. But at the same time, how can you, as fans, say that, look, he hasn't said this, and this, when the club itself didn't really release a statement about him. And the fans have been, you know, I'm not going to repeat what I've been saying in the stands.
Yeah, of course not.
But I think it's just very sour between all three parties, between the fan base, the club, and the Isak itself. And I'm glad for all, and for Liverpool to obviously get him in. I think, look, that's from a Newcastle's perspective. Looking at Liverpool perspective, you've got this brilliant striker coming in on top of Hugo Ekitike, on top of Verts, on top of Salah, on top of Gakpo, on top of Chiesa.
No, you're right. Yeah,
like it's just absolutely stacked. Obviously, I don't know if I said last week, but I definitely said off camera that I think signing Guehi would have been more important than signing Isak.
Yes, I agree. I think Guehi would have been a massive signing.
So the fact that we didn't get him was disappointing. So it was a very bittersweet transfer deadline day for Liverpool. In the end, but I still think we could go back in January for him. If not, obviously, then we'll have to wait until someone gets him for free. But by that point, I think Real Madrid probably look at him.
as well.
So it's going to be an interesting period of time for Gahey.
Yeah.
Because I think that goal was probably what he scored against Villa.
Seemed like
that was his farewell.
Yeah.
And it was a bit mental that Glasner came out and said that he would have handed his notice in with Palace if they didn't keep Gahey insulting Liverpool.
Oh wow.
Which is a bit surprising. I think he's only got a year in his deal anyway.
Yeah.
So if Palace went, look, we're going to keep him for a season. Obviously, he's going to go on a free. Well, that's out of our control.
Yeah.
But look, if there's a big money. There's still 35 million. Still a big fee.
No, it was. Yeah, they would have got a good fee. Yeah, for sure. They would have made a profit.
Yeah, for certain. So I think they would have went, right, well, if we're going to keep him for a season and lose on this profit, we want you to sign a contract and keep you for a 2-year extension or something.
Yeah.
But obviously they didn't. And I look at Glasner and I think he's a very good manager. I'll probably move on from Palace eventually.
Yeah, I think the more success he seems to have at Crystal Palace, I mean, you'd probably have them as quite a strong favourite for the Conference League. Obviously, this season they are the defending champions of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
You've got the Carabao Cup as well, which you never know. Teams tend to go on runs in that one as well.
They're doing quite well in the league as well.
Very well in the league.
I mean, obviously they beat Liverpool in the Community Shield. I don't really care about the Community Shield, but
that's fair.
But for Palace, that is a big deal.
Of course.
And they're doing quite well in the league. Obviously, I know a few injuries could change that. But I do think they'll do well this season.
I think their main aim this season, if you're a Palace fan, is probably to try and continue the success, which would be to win the Conference League. And then if they win the Conference League, they get into the Europa League.
Yeah.
I think they'll try and, you'd want a bit of a high league place.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think you need to build from something. Obviously, for them, it's not going to be as easy when you lose your sort of star players every year, as they obviously went to us.
Elise the season before.
Guehi was pretty much a few minutes away from.
But they seem to get the replacement spot on.
They do.
Yeah,
And
the recruitment's always quite well at Crystal Palace.
So I think if you're Crystal Palace, you wouldn't be as bothered. Maybe you'd probably rather let Guehi go on a free than sell him in January, because I think they'll want him in for them sort of. If they're going to go far in the cups again, if they're going to go for the Conference League, I think they'll probably want him for them.
And he's the captain
as well. Mark Guehi is a fantastic centre back, and absolutely, people really underrate him. To be honest, I think he's genuinely. I'd even go as far to say he's potentially top 5 in the league. To be honest, I think he's very, very good. I think the only team, and again maybe I'm being biased, the only team I don't think he'd actually get into is Arsenal's team. Genuinely, I honestly do. I honestly think he'd get in every team in the Premier League bar Arsenal. And I think that's just because of how good of a sort of partnership Saliba and Gabriel have developed with each other.
Okay.
I think he gets in Liverpool's team next to Van Dijk. I think he gets in Chelsea's team. I think he gets in Man City's team. Newcastle's, for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's a bold statement maybe, but I genuinely think that when I was thinking about this last night, I really rate him that highly. I think he's one of the best in the league, to be honest. I still think, Virgil van Dijk is number one.
It depends if Konate's in form or not.
I think, to be honest, I think at this stage, I think he's genuinely. I would probably rather have Guehi than Konate, because I think not just
off the season, but I think Konate is still a very, very good centre back.
He's a very good centre back, but I think not just because of his injury record. I genuinely think Guehi at this stage has become. He's England's best.
I mean, there's a reason why Liverpool's up, man.
Exactly, he's England's best centre back, and I genuinely think that he would get into every team in the Premier League. And he'd probably get into the majority of teams.
Can we talk about
as well?
Can we talk about his attitude, him and Ez's attitude towards Palace, where they kept playing? Obviously, they didn't really make a big fuss about it. I know there was a bit of an incident between Glasner and Guehi where he blanked them
after Chelsea,
but compare that to Isak and Wissa from Brentford.
Yeah,
the way they went on about it. But does that not just say that, look, you have to be an absolute complete dickhead to try and get your move?
It depends. I mean, I've never seen. I can't really remember a transfer window like this where there's been so much drama with strikers.
Yeah.
Even Nicholas Jackson in the end. So he was told he was going to buy, and then he wasn't going, and he was going in the end, and then he eventually signed. And a lot of palaver there. Obviously, Isak had clearly been told. The problem is with the Alexander Isak situation, him coming out and saying about broken promises is never going to make him look any better.
It isn't, but
Wissa as
the thing is, how, like, if Newcastle's statement after the PFA Player Awards.
Yeah.
They said there was no agreement in place.
I think that's more. Clubs are always going to look to defend themselves.
But then Eddie Howe said they did talk about it.
Yeah.
So they kind of just, you know what I mean?
I think there's obviously been an issue that Eddie Howe's had massive issues with Mitchell. The previous sporting director, and that's why he left.
They should have everything in place to go in the transfer window. With Newcastle, it felt like everything was left to the last minute. When you look at the fact that Whistle was signed on deadline day, obviously, the only one they got in early was Alanga.
That's true, and even Alanga really, they wanted Mbeumo, they wanted Kudus.
Yeah.
So sort of them, Mbeumo went to Man U, Kudus went to Spurs. So obviously Alanga he's not a bad alternative, but still not as. Maybe
I don't think I see a lot of Newcastle fans say that it's like a brilliant window. I think have they improved the squad? Yes, they have.
They've done well to scramble around. Yeah,
but have they
get players in?
Have they had a brilliant transfer window? I don't think so, because I think Alanga's a good player.
Yeah,
but is he worth the price they paid for him?
Nope.
No. When Kudus went for the same price and Eze went for $5 million more, and them two are miles better than Alanga.
Yeah, of course. And if you look at it as well, they wanted Trafford. They didn't get Trafford.
I think Trafford's made a mistake there, but
that's fair, especially now with Man City buying Donnarumma. They wanted Sesko. They didn't get Sesko. The original target was Ekitike, which was Hughes ended up buying him, and then as I say, Sesko went to Man U, and he got offered less money, and he still went to Man U. So even the whole Mark Wahe thing, they probably would have tried to go back in for him, and he's obviously Liverpool ended up wanting him, so they've ended up getting Malik Thiaw, and listen, they've done well, I think, to scramble around. I think Thiaw, Ramsey, Alanga, Ramsdale in particular, and Wissa as well. They're good signings. They'll
they're better. They're going in this Champions League with better alternatives.
A better squad than they did the previous time they went in, for sure. I think if you're a Newcastle fan, you're probably happy with the fact that the Isak saga ended.
Yeah,
they got the money for him, and the new replacement, Voltmurder.
Yeah,
obviously rejected by Munich. That is a good signing, I think, potentially for them.
It depends.
Obviously, he'll need time to adapt, but I think that's why they bought in Wissa as well, because Wissa is a bit more Premier League proven. I think Wissa will probably start more from the off.
Yeah, I think it's a credit to Eddie Howe that he improves players.
So I think he's got a very good record with.
Yeah, I think every sign he's made, he will improve.
Yeah, there will be better players.
Maybe Bar Ramsey, because obviously I think he's on a level.
I think Ramsey's a talent. Yeah, Ramsey's a talent.
He's still like 24.
Yeah,
so he's like going to his prime years.
That's true. No, I believe. I think Newcastle, to be fair, they've done well to scramble around in the end, and I think they've sold a lot of sort of deadwood. Matt Targett, for example. Callum Wilson left, so
Targett was just a loan though.
He's a loan, yeah, that's true, but still, I think to sort of they're getting rid of more players.
Yeah.
And they've kept Bar, obviously, okay, Isak's left, but they've still kept going there. They've got Bruno still there. I still think though I think Newcastle long term will need another centre back, and
they want that Leone, but
they wanted Leone as well. So
Liverpool sign.
The problem is with Newcastle, they're trying to get to a level. Obviously, PSR.
I think Newcastle have been unlucky this season. The fact that Liverpool have when this transfer window wanting to rechange the squad.
Yeah.
If it was the Liverpool of what we've seen in the past, they usually don't change as much.
Yeah.
So I think Newcastle probably would have had more success in the back of that because
Man United as well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm not disrespecting Newcastle. Newcastle is a good club to play for, and the fans are obviously very passionate towards the team and towards the players and whatnot. But realistically, at the end of the day, you look, Liverpool, brilliant team, they're going to win stuff, they're going to compete for the league, Champions League. As terrible as Man United are, they're still Man United at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Man United, you feel like will probably always be involved in trophies.
Yeah, exactly. And even as bad as they've been, they've still won stuff, which is a lot more than Newcastle have.
That's true.
Newcastle, they can guarantee a project. They can guarantee a project where they play good football and they'll try and compete for Champions League and whatnot, and probably do better in the league than Man United. But they can't promise trophies.
No, not really, because the thing for Newcastle is now how do they perform this season if they are going to sort of be. I think for them, you'd still probably take top 6.
Yeah.
Top 7 even. I think they'll want to have another run at the cup. I think they'll want to, for sure.
Oh yeah, they will look to defend that.
And probably have a bit of a better showing in the Champions League. But it's going to be interesting. They're going to be quite interesting this year. I don't think.
What do you think about?
They've done well to scramble around. I think, for example, Aston Villa are in a bit of a worse position.
You think because they made a few signs and deadlines.
Yeah, they did in the end. They've scrambled around. Aston Villa have been very unfortunate.
Obviously, it's a good sign for them. I think Liverpool got the better deal out of it though.
That's fair. I think Aston Villa have been very unfortunate with PSR because that again, Newcastle and Aston Villa are trying to sort of bridge the gap between Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, the big 6, and they're still not really sort of able to. But I think that Emery and Howe are 2 very good managers, and I think them 2 clubs will need to keep the managers in. Because before them 2 could end up going to bigger clubs because they maybe be frustrated with the sort of the spending situation there.
Look, obviously we mentioned Newcastle there. Moving on to the northeast neighbours, Sunderland.
Massive win against Brentford.
Not just that, but I mean their transfer window's been very solid.
It has been, to be honest. I think they've done really well. I mean, Granit Xhaka was a massive coup, and
obviously Bertrand Traore and Dylan Daywith alongside Brian Bobby. I think I've seen Brian Bobby play when he was at Ajax.
Yep.
I can see he also played in that game for Frankfurt, but he scored. I think it was the 2nd or 3rd minute in that game.
Yeah.
He's a very physical striker. I think probably will he get loads of goals? Probably not, but he will get enough goals.
Yeah.
Alongside obviously with Wilson Isidore and Mayanda. I think Sunderland actually have an alright squad. I think they've
improved it a lot. I mean, they had to.
Oh yeah, if they're going up, they had to bring some players in.
Because you could even argue that I think a few Sunderland fans may agree. Maybe they won't. They might get a bit pissed off. But I think when Regis Lebris first came in, I don't think the expectation was to probably get promoted straight away. So the fact that he got promoted in his first season was an achievement in itself. The way they beat Coventry, the way they beat Sheffield United, when they were probably in both games.
The underdogs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you can argue as well, is that in them games against Coventry and Sheffield United, they were good in moments, but I don't think they dominated either team really, especially Coventry. I think were the much better team in both games. And even Sheffield United, were probably the better team for an hour in that game.
Yeah.
But who cares? Because Sunderland got promoted. And the thing is, I think with Sunderland, they've been run in a very sensible way. And I think the money that they've spent this season is of a result of the previous 2 or 3 years where, they buy cheap, sell well, and I think they've done really well. So I hope they stay up because, not to cut you off, I hope they stay up because not just it's good for the Northeast, because we live here, but I think we need newly promoted side to stay up as well.
Oh yeah. I was about to say that even if they do go down, I think they could make a lot of profit. The players aside.
Yeah, exactly. They've got a good blend. I think another good player they bought is Mukiele. I think he's going to be a very good right back for that level. He was at Leipzig and PSG, 2 teams, especially PSG, who are they won the Champions League last season. So, they've signed good players, I think, and they're going to need to sort of. It will take a bit of time to gel, and obviously they do have a tough December with the African Cup of Nations coming up.
They've got a lot of African players in that squad.
Exactly. It will be interesting to see, but I think I'll give them quite a good chance to stay up. To be honest, I think the main thing is they've given a good go of it, and 6 points from the first 3 games is massive.
Obviously, with two home wins as well. If they can make the seem like a fortress,
yeah.
And look, I'm not going to try and disrespect them, but when you look at the winning the championship, they couldn't sell the ground.
Yep.
They probably need the art. And look, some of the fans are very good.
Yeah.
I think they'll make a good atmosphere.
That's true.
And they're going to get that surprise away win as well, I think.
Yeah, probably. Home win as well. They'll get a surprise.
Yeah. So
even your Ipswiches and
Yeah, they always. Everyone that comes up usually does get a surprise win.
Luton as well.
Yeah. So I think I do think the home record this season will be very good.
It's going to be crucial if they're going to stay up. Leeds as well, Burnley as well. If
Leeds is a difficult place to go to.
We've I think we both have agreed that Burnley will probably finish 20th. But if they're going to make it, if they're going to give a right go of it and try and sort of stay up, I think, all three of these teams have to pick up points at home, especially against sort of the relegation rivals, which you could argue are Brentford, Wolves, West Ham. You could arguably put in there.
Man United
as well. No, but I think those teams in particular, West Ham, Brentford, and Wolves are the ones that, if not careful, they could slip into that relegation zone.
Yeah. I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Out of all Europe.
Okay.
What is your sort of top 5 best transfer windows from a club this season? Well, this summer.
Clubs?
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. In no particular order, I'll give you my 5 now.
Okay.
I'm a bit biased. I think Arsenal have done very well.
I've got Arsenal there.
I think we've signed everyone in sort of positions that we needed. The squad is a lot stronger. We've upgraded the striker. We've upgraded the left wing, and I think Zubimendi will prove in time that he's an upgrade on
Jorginho
and Thomas Partey in midfield. We've improved sort of. Hincapié is a very good replacement to Kivio. I think Mosquera will be a very good backup for Saliba. I think Norgard is not a bad alternative at all to Zubimendi. I think Kepa is a backup keeper. I don't think you can get much worse.
Yeah.
So I think Kepa is a decent backup keeper as well. So I look at it and I think we've signed, Eze and Gyökeres hopefully in attack will push us to that next level, especially Eze. So I think, we've had a very good window, to be honest. Sort of got rid of other deadwood as well. Fabio Vieira, Alexander Zinchenko.
I didn't realise he left. That's really
he did, yeah. Albert Sambi Lokonga as well. So I think we've done some good business and just hoping now that we'll have a bit of success this season.
Yeah.
Next, again, as I say, no particular order because it's very hard to rank them because, you can talk about outgoings. I think in terms of outgoings, I think Liverpool have done quite well, to be honest. They've sold Tyler Morton, Ben Doak, Kwanzaa as well, for very good fees.
Elliot was a decent price.
Yeah.
Obviously, Luis Diaz went.
Yep, they've spent a lot though. Spent a lot. I know you like.
Cast went on loan.
You tend to look a lot at net spend. Whatever. That's opinion. My opinion can be reserved for another day.
Before this window, there was 6 or 7 teams in the Premier League that had spent more on Liverpool in the last 5 years.
That's fair.
So I think Liverpool coming in this needed a big window, the statement window, I think.
But the pressure is on now for you to continue that success as well.
It is. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not because it is.
Yeah.
Look, they brought in obviously Ekatike,
yeah,
Vert,
Isak.
Obviously Isak, all 3 of them, big money.
Big money.
But
you've broken the British transfer record twice.
Yeah. Kyrgyz, Frimpong, Lewin at the back.
Yeah.
We're a bit shy in midfield, I think, with Elliot going. Obviously, we've got Curtis Jones, Endo, sort of back options. I think Vert's probably play more as that sort of attack midfielder. Szoboszlai played very well as a right back.
Yeah, he did.
Newcastle and Arsenal. So we'll see what happens because I think he might actually try and keep Szoboszlai as a right back, depending. Because obviously with Frimpong just signing, it might be a bit too quick or whatever.
Yeah.
If he's on form, you've got to play what the players on form.
It's true. I think
because of who they are.
Yeah, I think Sunderland have to be up there as well. To be honest.
What in terms of
transfers?
Half of the league or what?
No. Sorry. No, for transfers, I think Sunderland have done really well. I think from all the newly promoted sides, I think their fans have probably been left the most happiest.
Yeah.
That they can't go at their owners and say, "Oh, you haven't tried." You haven't. Yeah. They've absolutely tried, and I think they've massively backed them.
And they're not done
them a new contract.
And look, I know Xhaka is old, but they haven't done that old thing of where a newly promoted club and just signs a name like Burnley have done with Walker.
Yeah.
Obviously, I do think Xhaka.
He was still playing well at Leverkusen. That's the thing. With Kyle Walker, he wasn't wanted by Man City. Yeah. AC Milan didn't want him either. He was very pro at AC Milan. So I think that, I believe that, he was. It's a bit more of a big name. I think Granit Xhaka, the performances were still more than.
Yeah, it was a big signing for someone. I'm not saying.
Signing.
No, I'm not saying that is Granit Xhaka on the level he was when by Leverkusen when Invincible.
Or even when he was playing for us in his last season, not at all. But
it is still a very good Granit Xhaka, whereas this is a bad Kyle Walker.
He's a leader, and he already got an assist. So a massive assist for Wilson Isidio on Saturday.
Yeah.
Just gone. So, I think that's a great signing.
And looking from the outside in Sunderland as well, it seems that the players like each other a lot, and they like the club,
they get on well, yeah.
And they like the fans and stuff like that. I seen where after the Brentford game, Granit Xhaka was
sort of
singing.
Wise men say, so they're getting involved. They're sort of trying to. There's a connection there with the fans potentially, and
but they could have signed Jordan Henderson.
They could have,
and I think they probably dodged a bullet there.
Jordan Henderson for me he's been passed around, hasn't he? You know what I mean? Like,
I think
he's been everywhere and anywhere. Ajax, Monaco did want him, so
I think Ajax probably he had a good time over there. I know in the end they didn't win the league, but I think Jordan Henderson's biggest mistake in his career was leaving Liverpool. But
I think when he did, because the thing is, Klopp wanted to keep him. So another club, and sort of I'll go a bit more outside of Europe. I think Marseille have had a very, very good transfer window. They've brought in back in Aubameyang, who was scoring goals for them before he went to Al Qadisiyah. I hope I've pronounced that right, Saudi fans. If we've got any Saudi fans, shout out to yourselves. Angel Gomez is a great signing as well. Egan O'Reilly from Burnley as well. He was very good in the Championship. League One, sort of the lower level of League One, you can argue is maybe a similar level. But I think they've made some good signings, and even Timothy Weah is not a bad signing as well. Sort of a backup. Igor Paxao as well, who is highly rated. Leeds, Fabrizio Romano did the here we go for them. He didn't sign for them in the end. And the one thing that Marseille have done well is their board has been very sort of strict, and after the whole Adrien Rabiot and Jonathan Rowe situation, they sold both. So they sort of got rid of that issue, sorted it out very quickly. So I think they've done very well. Another club I think have done very well as well, sort of a sleeping giant, if you will, in the last few years. I think Juventus have done very well.
Okay.
I know a Juve fan who I work with, and he's been very satisfied with the window they've had. They brought in Jonathan David, who has been scoring goals pretty much every season in Ligue 1. Luis Openda, who
a good sign.
They obviously wanted Colomani.
Was that a loan? Or was that?
It's a loan with an obligation.
Yeah.
Obviously, they wanted Colomani, but sort of in the end, PSG were haggling, but Juve had already had the deal set up for Openda.
Yeah.
So it shows that they have a bit of their board is a lot stronger than what they were under when they had Giuntoli the season before, where it felt like they were sort of throwing money away on players who just weren't at the same level. Over Juventus are a big club. People forget this. Juventus are a massive club. For them as well, Bremer coming back, he'll be a bit more of he'll be like a new signing. They brought in Conceição permanently. They got rid of Nico Gonzalez, who was a player that the fans weren't a fan of.
Yeah.
And they brought in Edon Dragova, who Dragova is very highly rated, and I think he's a very good option to have. With Juve, maybe the only thing they could have done is maybe getting in the midfielder, but I still think they've had a very good transfer window, and I think their fans will be very satisfied, and they could potentially go for the league this year. So yeah, that's my five. No particular order. Arsenal, Liverpool. I'm not just saying Arsenal, Liverpool for the fact that we are Arsenal, Liverpool fans. By the way, can I just make that very clear? I feel like them two have done very well. Sunderland, I think just because of the fact that they've actually had a go of it and bought players. And I think Marseille and Juve have really improved their squads, especially Marseille. So, yeah, I think those are my top five. Liam, what about you? What are your top
five? My top five is actually very similar to yours.
Okay.
I do have... Actually, no, it's not an order, but
okay.
I do have Liverpool, Arsenal, I think, on the top two. Sunderland are also in there.
Okay.
I have Real Madrid.
Really?
Yeah. Then Dean Huijsen is a very good
I get why.
On a free. Not on a free, sorry, Trent was on a free.
Yeah.
Dean Huijsen was a signing. But I think those two are very, very good signings.
Real Madrid were quite close on my list, to be honest. I think they've massively improved their team.
Yeah.
Especially defensively as well. Yeah. They were desperate defensively.
Obviously, they let go of Vasquez, but I think... Look, Liverpool didn't. Liverpool, Leverkusen, and...
they had a link.
Yeah.
Frimpong went to Liverpool, Vasquez went to Leverkusen, and then obviously Trent went to Madrid.
But I think they've done well, to be honest. In fifth, not in fifth, but the fifth team is Bayern Munich.
Really?
Yeah. I think Luis Diaz, very good signing. And I
also
think Jonathan Tah's a very good signing. obviously bringing in Nicholas Jackson. Do I think Nicholas Jackson's a brilliant centre forward? I don't think so.
A good backup.
But he's a good backup to Harry Kane.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think their squad depth's all right now. So yeah, my top 5.
That's interesting. What about your top 5 signings?
Top 5 signings
from the window.
It's gonna be a difficult one because I'm gonna just say names.
Okay.
I'm not saying this is my list.
Okay.
But I'm gonna look. Isak was a very good signing.
Okay.
Akatita was a very good signing.
Yeah.
Eze was a very good signing. Xavi Simons was a very good signing.
Fair.
Shakhtar Man City was a very good signing.
That's fair.
Obviously, we mentioned Son before. Do I think they're on that level? No, but Brian Bobby, Traore, and Jack are very good signing for Sunderland. There's loads of players.
This transfer window in particular was there were lots of moves for lots of players.
And can I narrow it down to 5? That's a good question. Well, I think of mine. I'll pass the question on to you.
Yeah, no worries. It was very tough. I've had to put in 3 honourable mentions as well, to be honest. Right. The 5 that I've got, Eberechi Eze, I think is a massive upgrade on that left wing. Martinelli and Trossard just, they were so frustrating to watch last season. Whenever Raheem Sterling played as well. It got that bad that Kieran Tierney had to, play it sometimes at left wing.
Yeah.
So I think Eze is just such an upgrade, and the fact that he can play in the number 10 as well. You can argue even the number 10 is maybe his best position, but I think on the left he'll just be so much more of an upgrade. And I think in the 20-minute cameo that he had against Liverpool, I think we just looked a bit better on that side. We've had issues on that side for at least, I think I'd say a good solid 2 or 3 seasons. So I think now that Eze's come in, hopefully that will be the upgrade that we need. He was fantastic for Crystal Palace last season. He's been fantastic every season for Palace, and he scored in the final against Man City to win them the FA Cup, to win them their first ever trophy. So he's forever in their sort of history books. Jonathan David as well. I think the fact that Juve have got him in a free is a massive signing. I think the fact that he's been, because it's not like a lot of people say that our Liga and it's a poor league, but he's been consistently scoring, over 20 goals a season in that league when you've got the likes of Mbappe, Dembele there last season as well. So he's still sort of got good numbers, and I think he'll score goals for Juve as well. I've got as well Jack Grealish. I think that's a good sign. A great signing for Everton.
Alongside Dewsbury Hall as well is a very good sign.
Yeah, Dewsbury Hall is actually one of my honourable mentions, which I'll get into in a second. But yeah, I think Jack Grealish is a massive signing for Everton. I think he's that big name that they need, going into that new stadium. He's a massive name, and I think with the type of manager that David Moyes is, I think you'll have a bit more a free reign to sort of express himself, which he wasn't really able to do at Man City. He's already got 4 assists, so he's looking really good.
Plus, the Everton fans love him.
Exactly. So I think he is that type of player that Everton. It's massive for a club like Everton.
Yeah.
And I think Jack Grealish would be fantastic for them. I've got as well Dean Huijsen. I think he's just what a player he is, and I think Real Madrid have probably got in the future probably one of the world's best centre backs.
Yeah,
and he's so young as well. He's what 19, 20. So
I mean, like most big clubs in Europe look like him.
Exactly. So he's absolutely fantastic, and I think Real Madrid have done really well there. And my final signing is Granit Xhaka. I just think that the experience he'll give Sunderland is massive, and I think he's a big leader, and I think he's gonna in the midfield. They needed a bit more of experience in the midfield, and I think he's gonna be massive for them. And I think he's for 11 million or whatever it was. I think he's a great signing. That's the reason why I put in Jonathan David as well, is because he was on a free. So Dean Huijsen 50 million for the type of player that he is, I think already is probably in the future going to look like a bargain. Jack Grealish on a loan, they'll probably want to make it permanent, as long as he doesn't get any injuries. And I think he needed that move away from Man City as well.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like he'd sort of, he stagnated a bit under Pep. So I think them five are my top five. My three honourable mentions are, as I said before, Dewsbury Hall. I think Dewsbury Hall is an absolutely fantastic player.
Yeah.
And he showed he was too good in the Championship for Leicester. He got 12 goals and 14 assists in that season where they went and got promoted. He's part of an FA Cup winning team for Leicester as well. Didn't get as many minutes at Chelsea last season, but they won a Conference League. So, and he had minutes in that tournament.
Yeah,
I think Dewsbury is such a talent, and I think he'll massively improve Everton's midfield, which has been a bit of an issue for them in the last 3 or 4 years. They haven't, their midfield has been a bit poor in my opinion.
Yeah, I think with Everton as well, I think this is the first time probably since Ancelotti they felt like they're actually building something.
Yeah. No, you're right, and I think the signings of Dewsbury Hall and Grealish, put them in a level where I think, to be honest, it's a bit of a bold claim that I'm about to make, but I think Everton, you have to watch out for them. I think they're going to be pushing for Europe this season. I think, or even one of the cups. I think they're going to be. I think I like the look of them, and I think David Moyes is just he's a very stable manager, and I think him getting that success at West Ham is going to, winning that trophy at West Ham. I think it's going to give him that appetite, and they could go far in one of the cups this season.
Yeah, the one thing about Everton is that I watched them against Leeds.
They did look poor.
Yeah,
that's true.
And I watched them against Brighton. They got very lucky. Brighton missed a lot of big chances.
Okay.
But I do think they'll have a good season. I think Jack Grealish is a very good sign as well.
I think it'll be interesting to see how they adapt to that to the new stadium, because obviously certain clubs have had problems with it.
Yeah.
West Ham, for example, still hate their stadium now, and it's 2016, 2017 was the season they started playing in it. So it's it'll be interesting to see how they adapt. But I could see them either pushing for Europe or going far in one of the cups. I think that David Moyes is building something there.
Yeah.
My other two honourable mentions, I'll try and be quick with them. I think Kevin De Bruyne is a great signing for Napoli.
Yeah.
I think he's a massive name, and I think Napoli will want to look to continue the success that they had last season. Obviously winning the league last season was massive for them. And, now they're in the Champions League this year. They'll want to sort of be going and having a good run in that. Antonio Conte, obviously, he's had great success at all the clubs he's beaten, bar Spurs. So, he's a great signing. I think as well, my final honourable mention, I think Joel Hato is very highly rated. Yeah. And I think Chelsea have sort of needed that commanding centre-back for a while. And I think that Hato could come in and be that sort of defender.
Okay.
Liverpool have had that with Van Dijk when he came in. Man United had that all them years ago with Rio Ferdinand. We've had that with Saliba, where I think it's that centre-back. Van Dijk is the prime example of a centre-back coming in and completely sort of changing the team, you can say. What he's won at Liverpool. It's a debate, which I think will go on for many years to come. That is he the best centre-back the Premier League's ever seen? We'll probably have that for another video. But I'm sure Liam thinks he is. But, I think Hato could come in and have a massive impact on Chelsea. And I think he's a great signing for, 40 million euros. I think it's definitely worth it. But enough of me talking. Have you made your mind up on your signings yet?
Well, I've got 5. It's not in order.
Okay.
Jack Grealish, he persuaded us.
Okay.
Is up there. Also with Dean Huijsen. I already thought that anyway.
Yeah.
Donnarumma.
I think it's a big signing for. It's a massive. It's a position they probably needed.
Do I think he's suited for Pep's football? Probably not with his feet.
That's interesting to see. That'll be interesting because, as you say, he's not really a Pep keeper.
But do I think he'll do well? Of course, I think he'll do well.
Yeah, he will.
He's a brilliant shot stopper, a brilliant overall keeper.
Fantastic in the Champions League last season.
I think Donnarumma's up there. Eze, I mentioned before. Now for a 5th one, it's very tough because he's got some honourable mentions. Xavi Simons is up there.
I think he's a big signing for Tottenham. I think they needed a type of player like him, to be honest, especially with Kulusevski being injured for as long as he is. Son as well has sort of left, so they needed that big name. And,
I'm going to go with Hugo Ekitike.
Not a bad shot.
Because I think, obviously, I know the money they paid was still quite big.
Yeah.
His age, and I think he's just going to be there for years, and I think he's going to be an absolutely brilliant goal scorer.
Okay.
I would have put Isak in over Ekitike, but just for the price tag, I'm going to put Ekitike in.
I feel like with Isak as well, it was kind of a no-brainer, really, from a Liverpool point of view. Like, he's obviously a massive upgrade on Nunes, and I just think that Isak's a bit more of a no-brainer, so it's a bit more of it's a bit of a lazy signing, you know. Not a lazy signing, but I mean like a lazy choice, in my opinion, anyway. That's why I didn't pick him. I could have picked him because he was absolutely fantastic last season, but I just think that the 5 that I've got and the honourable mentions, I think will just... I think, to be honest, and this may be an unpopular opinion, Isak will be absolutely fantastic with Liverpool if he stays fit. I think he'll score lots of goals. But I just don't actually look at it and think you were desperate for Isak, because I think Ekitike started the season very well. That'll be interesting to see how them two fit.
Our agreement.
And our agreement as well, because now with Ekitike, he might play less. So that means Gyökeres, you know for a fact, it will be the main man at Arsenal. Ekitike, will he try and play him off the left? Will he play Isak off the left?
We'll see.
Just depends. It's going to be very interesting. So maybe that makes me a bit more happier that you've signed Isak just because of the Ekitike bet. But I won't be happy if Isak scores enough goals to win the league this season.
Look,
that's for sure.
We'll move on to sort of
the big news.
Well, it came out yesterday.
That came out yesterday. Yeah, that Daniel Levy
has stepped down for Spurs,
exactly,
but a bit more not him stepping down, a bit more pushed out.
It seems as if he's been pushed out. Yeah, apparently the Lewis family have. There was a board meeting, and apparently they've sort of tried to shut him out.
With Daniel Levy, he's been there 25 years.
Yeah.
Look, right, like I know he's very much hated between the Spurs fan base. Probably rightly, because obviously he's been there 25 years. For the size of Spurs, to only win 2 trophies in that tenure during that ownership is a bit laughable.
It's very funny from an Arsenal point of view.
And look, they always seemed to be very hit and miss until Pochettino was there, and had some sort of solid foundation for a few years.
Yeah.
Once that Pochettino era come to an end, they were very much back to the way Spurs were before.
Yeah.
Where they were sort of trying to build something, but it never really work. But the one thing what Daniel Levy's done really well is making Tottenham a very sustainable club in terms of you look at the deals with the NFL they've got with that new stadium.
Yeah, the concerts. Even the boxing now as well with Eubank and Ben having the first fight there and then have the rematch as well.
They're very much a business run club in terms of what they're trying to be ahead of the time. Look, with Spurs at the moment, they very much feel like an American franchise, if you like, because just the way they are, I don't know how to explain it. It's just they're very much an American feel towards them. The stadium's very American, with the way the fact that NFL can be played there. But I just think Daniel Levy, was he hit or miss? He was a miss.
Yeah, he's done well for them more off the pitch.
Yeah. Than he has done on a pitch. He's run like a business, essentially. But he's made them a business in the future where it can be a very good football club, I think.
I think Levy will probably look at it and go, even though he's been pushed out, he'll probably look at it himself and go, well, I've left yous with, yous have won a Europa League. So, and as much as I'm not obviously a fan of Spurs, they have a very good stadium, so which they'll make a lot of money.
And they've designed it. And they've designed it in the way. Obviously, I know we mentioned NFL quite a bit there, but they made it for the fans as well.
They've settled into that stadium now, compared to, how sort of, for example, as we said before, West Ham haven't. Still feel like the sort of that London stadium is a bit of like
that's what
foreign land.
They've designed that stadium for the fans.
Oh yeah.
Where the Olympic Stadium was never built for football.
No, I don't think so. And I think it's, to be honest, maybe as an Arsenal fan, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I think Arsenal fans who have been going for longer than me, or been supporting longer than me, will probably tell me if I'm right or not. But I feel like Spurs probably have settled into their stadium quicker than what we settled into the Emirates. In my opinion, anyway.
I think it's because the Emirates it's a very nice stadium.
It was revolutionary at the time because we were the first to do it. Yeah. We were the first to sort of the Premier League clubs to build.
But it's not, when you look at the Emirates now.
Then obviously Liverpool and Man U had the extensions.
Highbury was always more intimidating than.
No, absolutely. There was a bit of Arsenal that left with Highbury, and but I still feel like Wenger obviously made it. I think Arteta has now made it a bit more of a home. Our recent record against sort of big six sides at home, and obviously we've beaten Real Madrid there last season. PSG, I know, was in the group stage, but still. So I feel like we've gotten a bit more of a home there. Spurs, back on the Spurs though. I think in the end, Levy will probably be quite satisfied with what he's done. Obviously, the fans wanted him out.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do now. Are they going to be more ambitious? Are they going to sort of keep the model running in the same way? It's going to be interesting to see what they do from here on out. So yeah, I think that'll be interesting to see.
It was very much a shock though.
Massive shock, absolutely. It felt like Daniel Levy would be there until the day he would die basically. So you know what I mean? It's it was a massive shock, especially when it came.
Yeah.
Because if a change like that was going to happen, you'd have thought
start before the season.
Or maybe after the Europa League final. But this is clearly not him stepping down. This is clearly him being pushed.
Do you reckon that means that is it the Lewis family owned?
Yes.
Do you think that means they're going to be more hands-on with the club?
Maybe.
Do you think they're going to bring someone in like Daniel Levy?
See, the thing is that apparently they are the ones behind this sort of trying to, how do we say, sort of push him out.
The thing is, though, do you not think that's just trying them to sort of recount with the Spurs fan base? Because obviously the Spurs fans throughout the years have vented their concern about
Daniel Levy. They've been very frustrated.
They've always been quite angry towards him. I always remember before even they got the new stadium at the old White Hart Lane. At the time, they used to have the sort of chants about Daniel Levy out and stuff.
Yeah.
It's probably come about 15 years too late, really.
Probably, yeah.
But it does seem like that with this move, they're going to try and recount with the Spurs fans, and maybe, this is probably the right time for Daniel Levy to move on, because he can say, well, I've moved you into this new stadium. It took a bit of time to settle, but in the end, we won Europa League.
Yeah, they've had a lot of managers though. During Daniel Levy's time.
The only one you can really say was a success was probably Pochettino.
Consistent success, because I think that Harry Redknapp was quite good for them as well. Martin Jol won them a trophy. That was Juan Randy Ramos that won them that Carling Cup in 2008. They had Martin Jol before that. Obviously, then Ramos. Then they had Harry Redknapp. Then Villas-Boas. Then Tim Sherwood for a bit. Then Pochettino. There's been a consistent move out. Conte, Mourinho, Nuno Espirito Santo for like 2 months.
Yeah.
Obviously Ange, and then now obviously Thomas Frank. So they've had a lot of managers over the previous under his time in charge, and I think consistency wise, Potter was probably the most successful.
Despite not winning a trophy.
Yeah, despite being very close. I think if you look at it from a trophy point of view, Juan Randy Ramos and Ange Postecoglou are probably the most successful because they won trophies. But it'll be interesting to see how Spurs are shaped in the next it's going to be a massive transition for them to see how they approach the future, how they operate. Because you feel like you're sort of used to them for so long, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Should we move on to a different sport completely?
Yes. Tennis.
Your old sport, tennis.
Yeah, US Open has been going on. We've got the women's final. Arina Sabalenka against Amanda Anisimova. Obviously, Sabalenka, the best player in the world. I'm a big fan of Sabalenka personally. I think she's really top, and she's got to 2 Grand Slam finals already. She did lose both. She actually lost to Anisimova in Wimbledon in the Wimbledon semi-final. So it'll be interesting. That's going to be a rematch of the final. Anisimova will have her own point to prove because in the Wimbledon final she lost 6-love to Iga Swiatek. That'll be a great final on Saturday night. The men's semi-finals are today. Novak Djokovic against Carlos Alcaraz. It's going to be a massive match. Will you be tuning in?
Probably not.
Which is fair enough. And then after that we have Yannick Sinner against Felix Auger-Aliassime. Djokovic Alcaraz is 50-50. I think Alcaraz is probably playing the best at the moment on tour during this Grand Slam. He still hasn't dropped a set. He's just playing unbelievably. But seems like with Novak, he's very motivated. My mate Pavi G is a big fan of Novak Djokovic. It'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. I think it's 8:00 UK time. You got to watch it. It's going to be, them two always produce entertaining matches. And obviously Yannick Sinner against Aliassim. Aliassim is playing fantastically. He's beaten Aliassim. Aliassim is playing fantastically. He's beaten Zverev, Andrei Rublev, and then Di Manuwa in the last match. It's going to be interesting. Can he topple Yannick Sinner? Yannick Sinner is just an absolute robot on hardcourt. I mean, wow, what a player he is. He was the only time he's really struggled, I think, so far in the US Open was against Denis Shapovalov. So, in the last two matches, though, against Bublik and against Musetti, Sinner was just, unbelievable. And both matches ended very fast. I think Sinner will win that one in 4 sets. I think Aliassim might get a set off him. But for me, Djokovic-Alcaraz is genuinely such a 50-50. I will back Alcaraz. I can see Alcaraz winning over 4, maybe in 4 sets or 5 sets. I think Djokovic might actually push him to the 5th set. But if he does, I think Alcaraz will win the 5th. So I think we'll see another Alcaraz-Sinner final, which would be very interesting. And regardless, so I think, even if Aliassim pulls off the massive shock on Sinner, I think whatever final we will get on Sunday for the men's US Open final will be fantastic. So, yeah, tennis is in a good spot at the minute, and long may it continue. Let's also move on, after that. Let's go on to boxing.
Usually we record on a Thursday. We want to record on Thursdays. It was a good job we didn't, because obviously the leaving news come out, but within boxing, there was another big story broke out last night.
At 1 o'clock last night, I saw something I never thought I'd see. Which is, my mind is still blown by it now.
Yeah, obviously, pensioner Mike Tyson.
Senior citizen.
Yeah, senior citizen gets free bus rides.
Yeah.
Who come off the back of a fight against Jake Paul.
Ugh.
Jake Paul is uncomparable to his next obviously fight. Obviously, the next fighter is much older than Jake Paul.
Yeah.
But Floyd Mayweather, Money Mayweather, is going to be fighting Mike Tyson
in an exhibition. It's been signed for 2026. The date and the venue will be announced. But I mean, Jesus Christ, what is this, man? Boxing is just becoming like a mental sport. Like, I had to look at it. I genuinely looked at the post that Mayweather put on Instagram at least 3 or 4 times, and like just kept reading it to myself to say, Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson are actually having a fight. Like, they are 2 of the biggest names in boxing history. I think Floyd was, in terms of the 21st century, I think Floyd is probably the biggest name. Yeah. He's got all the pay-per-view records. He's probably, he's made the most money from boxing.
Look, do I think you've got to ask yourself, right? Are the big names? Yes. Will I be tuning? Yes. Yeah. Will it be a good fight?
No. It's going to be quite a bad fight. I'm curious to see how many rounds it's going to be. I really hope that Floyd doesn't take the piss with Tyson and sort of. I'd rather it be 6 rounds. You know what I mean? Mike Tyson. I mean, he's nearly 60 years old. Like, what are we doing?
How old's Mayweather?
Mayweather's mid-40s.
Yeah.
So, but Mayweather is more.
How old was he when he fought?
Gym, you know what I mean?
Yeah. How old was he when he fought McGregor?
40, I think.
40. Wow.
So he might be about 46, 47 now.
I mean, I know it's still like. Look, there's still a big difference. I know Mayweather is an older bloke himself, but it's just going to be terrible. It is just going to be terrible.
Yeah, it's not going to be.
The weight class is so different. Like, obviously, Mike Tyson now is still a lot bigger than Mayweather.
Yeah,
Tyson. Obviously, his legs have gone, his back's gone.
Yeah, of course.
I just don't think it's. I get why he's doing it, because obviously the money he'll bring in.
It's for money, I think. That's for Tyson. Obviously, he's going to probably get paid quite well.
Because we already know the financial struggles that during his own boxing career, Mike Tyson went through himself. Obviously, I know he did end up bringing the money back through, obviously, when he was in films and obviously, his businesses, shall we say.
Podcast as well.
Yeah. So he has made the money back, and obviously this is just to basically secure his family. I think he's more of a family man now than he was during his boxing career. He was absolutely mental. But Mayweather, does he need the money?
No. He shouldn't need the money, but the problem is with Mayweather, you just don't know. No one knows.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand. He's had lots of exhibition fights since.
Since McGregor, that was the big real first one. Obviously, since then he's had obviously both. Was it both
Logan Paul?
Yeah.
No, he hasn't fought Jake Paul, but there's Logan Paul. He's fought. Aaron Chalmers.
Yeah.
Deji. He fought. You know what I mean? And he's fought a couple of others as well. And it's just, I think Floyd. Floyd knows that if he comes back now with how boxing is, if he came back professionally, Manny Pacquiao did very well in his last fight. Arguably won his last fight. I don't know if Floyd could come. Floyd maybe doesn't want to roll the dice in that way, and I think Floyd wants to continue doing these exhibitions. So probably the next best thing for him is to fight someone like Mike Tyson, but still doesn't make sense in any way possible.
Absolutely mental. This is like what boxing is now, isn't it?
3 years ago, Mike Tyson, was doing a podcast getting high all the time. Since then, he's fought Jake Paul, and he's now fighting Floyd Mayweather. Like two completely different ends of the spectrum.
You know what it is? Last week we obviously mentioned about Jake Paul
fighting Javante Davis, and I thought that was a bit of a piss take, which it is a piss take. But now you look at Floyd Mayweather fighting Mike Tyson, it's like, what is? I'm not even like angry at it because I mean they're both older, but it's like it doesn't make sense. I mean I don't know. I was discussing it. We were discussing this yesterday off camera about. I think there is a bit of tension with them because obviously Mike Tyson has come out and said that we came out many years ago and said that about how Mayweather will never touch sort of Ali's legacy. Yeah. I think Mayweather got pissed off about it. So I don't know if there's actually going to be beef. Like there's the press conferences might be interesting if they sort of.
I don't think there will be beef though, because I think both of them will have that. Obviously, if they like each other, that's a different question. But there'll always be that respect between what they've both done.
Yeah, exactly. I think.
Whereas there was no respect there between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson in terms of what has Jake Paul done in the ring compared to Mayweather.
And notice how Jake Paul was 30 years younger than Mike Tyson, who Mike Tyson would have had Jake Paul out in 10 seconds if he was anywhere near his prime.
You know what boxing feels like right now? It feels like someone has just watched, that Rocky Balboa film.
Yeah.
It just feels like boxing has just watched that and went, that's a brilliant idea.
Brilliant fight.
We're going to do all this.
I think Mayweather as well is trying to... Maybe it's an ego thing.
Where you come back in the ring as an old man and fought that guy who was like coming towards the end of his... I don't know if you've watched the Rocky Balboa film. That was a terrible film compared to the classic Rocky films.
Alright.
Have you watched it or not?
I haven't watched the last ones.
Yeah, but it wasn't that good. It was like him as an old man just come back in the ring and fighting a guy that was on the end of his career.
Yeah.
And it made no sense. But that's what it feels like.
I'm kind of more glad that at least there's not that much of an age difference between Mayweather and Tyson. But still, though, the weights are just completely I think a lot of this is Floyd Mayweather's ego as well. I think the fact that obviously Turkey Al-Sheikh has come in and sort of, you can argue, taken over boxing. I think Floyd Mayweather's trying to sort of show that he's still a big name, but it's just stay retired, like, you know what I mean? But the problem is, though, I will watch this.
I'll probably watch it.
I'll watch it. That's the thing, because it's just more of the curiosity point of view, and I think it's going to be on Netflix, so at least there's no pay-per-view. But honestly, it's just absolutely mental, and I don't really want the fight to happen because I think Tyson. I think we should leave him alone. Like, let him
retire.
But let him enjoy the rest of his life. You know what I mean? However many years he has left. But Floyd is Floyd. Floyd doesn't care about anyone else other than this and himself. So, you know what I mean? I think, it's just absolutely mental. But we do, obviously, boxing, we are a week away now from one of the biggest fights, probably the biggest fight of the year. Canelo against Crawford. Yeah. Obviously next week we'll be
doing preview for that.
Massive preview for that. We'll definitely all be getting together for it and watching it as well.
Yeah.
So boxing's in a funny spot. Like, I mean, we're seeing some of the fights we want to see, but then
we're seeing some random fights.
Completely random matchups which make absolutely no sense. And I don't know honestly. What is boxing at the minute?
It is. I think it is in a better light than it was a few years ago.
I think so, yeah, and I think.
But at the same time, it's absolutely mental.
The one fight that apparently looks like the two things that I think as well we'll just quickly mention. Anthony Joshua is apparently likely to come back in January. What do you think about him and sort of his comeback? Do you think he can win another belt? Do you think he can, Do you think he'll be the same as he was before the Dubois fight?
It's a weird one because obviously with AJ against Francis Ngannou, and then obviously Dubois was two complete different fights in itself. So AJ at the moment, he's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Whatever, if he's obviously it's been a while since he fought. I think was it this time last year? Last time he fought. So him coming back, you got to feel like he was going to put the work in.
Yeah.
It might be a different Anthony Joshua, but if he loses that, where will he go from that?
No, exactly. And I think apparently what the plan seems to be is that he wants to fight sort of one of the top 10 boxers in his division.
He could get absolutely smoked.
But that's the problem. It's apparently set up a mega fight in the summer of next year, but who could that be? You know, is a Tyson Fury fight actually likely to happen? I'd still see it personally. I don't know. I think other people.
It depends who he fights in January, and it depends on the result.
For me, I think he should fight Wilder just for the fact that to give us that big name.
Plus, I think he could beat Wilder.
I think Wilder's probably the best moment to fight Wilder now. I mean, that's probably why Wilder was trying to fight Ngannou, maybe because he feels like it's more of a winnable fight. But I think I would still watch Joshua Wilder. Obviously, it is 6-7 years too late. I think the other fight I would like to see Anthony Joshua fight would be Martin Bakole, just because I think it would be interesting to see if he actually had a training camp and he needs to dedicate himself and not come in as fat as he did against Joseph Parker. It's going to be very interesting to see who Anthony Joshua fights, but I just hope it's not really this no-name sort of...
Yeah, someone that he's just going to absolutely batter and then...
Or even potentially lose, and then sort of you'd be like...
Like the Andy Ruiz.
Well, kind of, yeah, and then think, oh, where are we now? If he wants a couple of big fights, apparently he says himself he's got 2-3 big fights left, then he wants to retire. He wants sort of legacy fights. Fury, that will probably be. He still wants the Dubois rematch, and apparently he's never really...
So do you think the 3 fights he's got left is probably Wilder, Dubois and Fury?
I think in his mind, maybe he'll want to make them. I think Dubois, you want to try and get that back for sure.
The way he got battered as well.
Fury is absolutely desperate to fight, I think. Yeah. He delayed having an elbow surgery, hoping to try and fight Fury. I'm not saying Tyson Fury is scared, because I had this debate with a good friend of mine yesterday, but I think Tyson Fury would rather avoid that fight in the risk that he loses. And Fury is obviously trying to jump the queue for Usyk. Usyk is a bit interesting at the minute as well. Apparently he's injured. Now Joseph Parker is sort of in a position where he has to fight again, and he's now going to be fighting Fabio Wardley apparently in October. I think that's a really good fight. I don't know how do you feel about that sort of fight, and Joseph Parker sort of what sort of moment he's in at the minute.
I think Parker Usyk would have probably been a better fight for his career, because obviously Usyk's the name that everyone's fighting over.
The belts as well.
But it will still be an interesting fight, no doubt. The thing is though, it's always a question. What if he loses?
Yeah.
Will he get that Usyk fight that he wants after that? Yeah. And if he does lose, then he probably won't.
No, probably not. And the thing is for Usyk as well is that, I mean, obviously he wants a bit more. I think, in my opinion, I don't think he's faking injury. There was that accusation that was made by David Higgins.
Well, with Usyk.
Yep.
Usyk would not fake an injury.
I don't think Usyk would fake an injury at all. So I think that he probably deserves a bit more time off as well.
Yeah. He's
been so active.
Yeah.
The
last decade, he's been fight after fight after fight.
He's fight at least twice a year, pretty much. So he's always active, and I think for Usyk, we don't know. I mean, he said after his Dubois fight that he's still young. It's interesting to see what will happen next for him. I think Usyk could retire now, to be honest, and probably have his legacy intact.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen him fight Parker, but I think for sure, if Parker wins against Fabio Wardley, which is not an easy fight for Joseph Parker, because I think Fabio Wardley is performing really well at the minute. He had a great knockout over Justin Hooney, Fabio Wardley in his last fight, and then obviously beat Fraser Clark as well. It'll be interesting to see. You've got Fabio Wardley there, you've got Moses Atuma there, but I think if Joseph Parker wins, I think the Usyk fight has to be made. I think there's nothing else for Parker to really fight. No one else for Parker to really fight other than Usyk.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting, obviously. But as I say, next week, our main talking point of the episode will be Canelo Crawford, which 100%. Is a massive fight. And I don't know about you, but I am really excited. I am excited.
Is it on Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. So it's going to be massive. And I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. I mean, we'll give our predictions before then. But
yeah, I was going to say, I want to do a bit more research on the both fighters going on it before I make an absolute statement on it.
Yeah.
I think we'll leave it for next week with that.
Yep.
And then obviously the week after, probably look back on our predictions and
of course, I think
But it actually is tough to call, really. I think that's my personal view.
It is. Obviously, we do have the international break at the minute.
So next week will probably be more boxing heavy, unless something absolutely crazy happens, like Ronaldo's retired.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean. Obviously, we'll probably, we'll put in Albania playing against Latvia at home next week, the mighty Latvia, who we couldn't beat in June. It's going to be very interesting. We're in the World Cup qualifiers. Yesterday, though, one thing that did happen that was quite a shock was Germany lost to Slovakia.
Yeah, I seen Wirtz was the poster boy of that loss.
Yeah, so that's sort of Germany are in a bit of an interesting one because I don't know if they're at risk to not qualify, but it was a bit of a poor result for them, and obviously a lot of Bayern Munich fans were sort of pushing the point that Nagelsmann is not as good as what people think.
Yeah.
But the international break tends to be a bit of a dull week, should we say?
Yeah. So there's probably going to be next week.
So next week,
focused on boxing.
We'll be talking about the US Open winners, previewing the massive Canelo Crawford fight. Obviously, there are big Premier League games next week: Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, and the Manchester Derby as well.
Yeah.
So, and we'll probably look at
Champions League's coming up.
We'll obviously look at Albania and England sort of international games.
I'm fussed. You can talk about Albania.
We can talk about Albania, but so this has been the end. Well, this has been our second episode
of the
sports scene. I just want to massively thank everyone that actually viewed last week. I think we got over 100 views. Which
first video was quite big.
Absolutely fantastic.
Come out of nowhere.
We're hoping to get the same. And as I said before, please do give us feedback. We want to know what you want us to talk about. If there's any guests that you have in mind, if there's anything that we haven't covered that you want us to cover, feel free, put it in the comments. Give us a message. You know what I mean? We'll put our social medias in the link below. And
as well we've been speaking quite a lot about what we want to do with this podcast. We want to kind of create this sort of weekly. We're going to call it the weekly roundup. So we're going to talk about sports on a weekly basis, but then we also want to create different podcasts with different guests. And obviously have that as sort of as a separated from what we're doing here. But I'm enjoying this at the moment. Obviously, we want to build a foundation where we can sort of get good guests in and stuff. We don't want to just jump into it. It's just like people don't want to watch it.
No, exactly.
But if you do enjoy this, please do share, like, and obviously comment as well. Obviously, what Marlind just said, what you want to see. I've been Liam Rafferty alongside me. Has obviously been Marlind Merry.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much, guys.